Continuing on the theme of inclusion, I'd like to introduce our next speaker, Jude Morrow. He's CEO of a multi-award winning Neurodiversity Training International. Jude is an exceptional advocate who connects with audiences sharing his own experiences in the world of autism, acceptance and understanding. With over 15 years of experience, he has been able to support thousands of individuals worldwide by sharing his personal journey, insights and experience. He inspires and educates society about autism and the importance of inclusion. Through storytelling and relatable examples, he challenges misconceptions, promotes understanding and encourages acceptance. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Jude Morrow. Testing today.
Thank you very much. We're on. You know what? Do you know when you know you've had a really grim point in your advocacy journey? Like all of you, I drove through that gate this morning. And do you know what it was greeted with? Alright, Jude, what about you? The guy knew me by name. He knew who I was. So I went through security and everything else, and I got down the stairs to the reception. And the same thing. Oh, Jude, you know where you're going, don't you? Just go upstairs. Yep, repeated it back. You turn back on yourself, follow everybody else, whatever it may be. So as you'll see, I have no cue cards, I have no prompts, no slides, no paper, nothing. Because I've got to a stage where it seems like autism advocacy, it's just a constant battle. Fight, and it goes in this kind of cycle where it's advocacy, lip service, silence, repeat. That's where it is, that's where we are in a perpetual looping cycle. And I was stuck. I've done 90-minute keynote speeches at Madison Square Garden, I've headlined conferences, I've done loads of things, loads of fun, exciting, Instagrammy worthy stuff. But I was really stuck. I was emailing Fiona about this. I'm completely paralysed. You know what they say? Define your experience, your life, and everything that you felt in the last 33 years in about 9.5 minutes. So what I did was yesterday, I put it out to my Instagram and TikTok. What do you want me to say? Right? Let's pretend you have the microphone, and what do you want me to say on your behalf? And loads of people messaged me back and said, Jude, why are you bothered, son? Sure, nothing ever changes. But here's the thing though, I totally disagree. Nothing ever changes. Everything has changed. Everything's getting worse. This challenge is getting worse and worse and worse. So for anybody that doesn't know me, I'll give the shortest of introductions. So I was among the first wave of autistic children to go through the mainstream school system. I was born on the 7th of August 1990, so I'm 33. And what some of the young people I support on an individual basis call a geeky old man at the tender age of 33. I didn't speak till I was 7, and I didn't really walk until I was 3. Now nobody can get me to sit down or shut up. So that's been quite a transformation over the years. And you know what? Whenever I used to line stuff up and stack stuff up, that was inappropriate play, the professional said. And it was me that had to change, right? I don't really like going for lunch or playing games with more than a few people and stuff like that. That was called a lack of social skills, whatever they are. But it was me that had to change. And I was in a smaller classroom. And how did I feel? I felt like I was in with a group of other kids that the teachers also didn't want. That's what it felt like. I was there, I was among it. And I say this story quite a lot. And people say, oh, Jude, I relate with that. I was talking to a parent, actually, just before I came in. I said, but what I went through happened in the 90s. This was 1998. This was pre-social media. This is pre-internet. This is pre-mass media as we know it today. What we had back then were things called newspapers. And what has changed from that? Pretty much nothing. And eventually, the making of me was I was able to go to a school that had autism training. Now, was it great? Not really, but you know what I mean. A wee bit of something's better than a whole lot of nothing. Because we can feel it as kids. And I thrived and flourished. And I grew up, and I thought, you know what, I actually joined youth clubs and autism groups as we know them now that weren't really a thing whenever I was away. They weren't really a thing. And then I became a social worker. That's what I did. Believe it or not, I know the guy that's in all the reports said lacked social skills became a social worker. You couldn't make that up, could you? And there was an old joke we used to say, if anybody has ever been involved with a family court, is the point is our political system is very similar to the family court, where it's like two fighting parents, and who's always the losers? The children. And that's always been the case, and that's why we're all in a room like this today. But I wasn't always out and proud about being autistic or anything else. It wasn't really my thing. If you'd have told me 15 years ago, oh, you'll be in a room in Stormont talking about all this loads and loads of times, I would have laughed in their face. I actually counted how many engagements or talks or things like this I've done over the last 8 years. You know how many times I've been here? 52. I look back through my emails. So it's like, this is why I'm doing this change of strategy. Because what do you do? Like, you have a shuffle deck, right? Do you do tearjerker stuff? Do you do skydiving jokes? Do you do, what do you do? So I thought, right, I'm going to make this totally, totally different. And what happened then was I decided to set up Neurodiversity Training International. We got all the problems, right? People were, after my books came out, and I started being more open and public about it, where it's been a bit of a hobby that's now got out of hand. It's been a bit of a passion project and a side gig that's really got out of hand. And I've spoken to lots of health ministers, lots of first ministers, lots of education ministers, got the usual stuff, yes Jude, the stereotypical nod. I got that loads and loads and loads of times. Again, with a lack of social skills allegedly, I know the lip service nod. Yeah, no problem, we'll look at that. And do you know what I thought whenever I set up NTI? Really, really arrogantly, I thought, you know what? The government will take me under their wing and be like Bambi's mother to me. That's what they'll do. They'll embrace this. They'll be all over it. This will be great. And, the kids now won't go through what I went through in the 90s. Oh, how wrong was I? And we identified the main areas, right? We thought, training's not really happening. It's not really happening at a mass scale. It's not really happening. Diagnostics aren't happening. And mental health care for children and adults just isn't there. Right? It's just not there at all levels, whether that is preschool, school, third level, and post-third level. It's not there. So we thought, you know what, we'll try and fix this problem ourselves. And we'll present it to the government, and they'll go for it. Nah. And after nearly bankrupting myself twice, I had meetings with my advisors. And do you know what they said? He said, Jude, you need to take your operations out in Northern Ireland. And I said, absolutely not, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that at all. And then it came to the thing, what it all comes down to, it all comes down to money, doesn't it? That's what it all comes down to. And it was either lose my house, lose my livelihood, have to put my parachutes on eBay and everything else. That's what it came down to. So I moved my operations outside of Northern Ireland. That's what I did. Focused over in England, the United States, India, Australia. And what we've seen is that when children are supported, society just works. Like, what are we doing here? What are we really doing? We're begging. We're begging decision makers to take children seriously. Like, yeah, this is a lovely thing. It's a great idea, great buzz, lovely to meet people, lovely to catch up with people. But let's look at what we're really doing here. We are begging for people to respect the needs of children. That's what we're doing. And you know what? We have been around the world, right? Loads of places, whenever teachers are trained, children get diagnostics and their mental health care are looked after, good things happen. It's very simple. Now, I'm sorry to have to say this, but do you know what it's going to involve? Money. It's going to involve money. It's as simple as that. Because I was always, but Jude, we have no resources. There's resources for whatever you want them for. The magic money tree does exist. It will always exist. We look at COVID, we look at nuclear weapons, we look at street signage, we look at loads of things. There is a magic money tree for whatever the fighting, divorcing parents want there to be money for. Now, this is children. This is only our future. Alright? It's only our future. And here's what I want to do. Right? Here's what I really want to do. I want to extend the hand and say, I want to collaborate with you. Let's solve this problem, right? What I want us to do is I want us to get together and we cost this and we go to the department and say, right, this is what it's going to cost, this is what we're going to need, and we run with it. That's what we need to do, because what's happening is people are saying we need support, and I've been on the other side of this with pressure groups as a social worker and parent groups, and I've said, well, what support do you want? I don't know, you tell us. So how about we do tell them? Where we actually do it and we cost it. Now we've done as preliminary costing, we're talking about under 15 million to solve this problem, to obliterate the waiting list inside a year and to get every single teacher and teaching assistant in the country trained to an adequate level. That's what it's going to cost. That's not a lot of money. When we look at the A6, that's going to cost about 6 billion. So we're talking about less than 2% of that cost. It's not an awful lot. And what I want to say is, it can be done. Do it. Thank you very much.
These weren't very expensive mics, I would mic drop that. May I just say, Jude actually travelled all the way from the beautiful city of Derry, Londonderry today to literally present that, even though he has 4 other commitments, because he wanted to be in the room, he wanted to feel the presence. And he said to Emma earlier, everybody has got an anxious tension today, because we all know how important it is. And I really want Jude's speech and Kira's speech to really resonate with everybody. I know there's a lot of people in the sector, we always advocate, but the power of the voice themselves, as Laura Lundy says, make sure you give them the audience and make sure those actions happen afterwards.